what we do here is go back.
Good morning, Waddlers. This is me, your boy Waddles. Welcome to the third episode of the Everything series. Episode number 3 of this series, Spyglass. We're going to talk all about it. I like to play a little game, so I threw an Instagram story up asking you to guess which item this episode would be on. Out of all of the items in the game, like so many of you guessed the Spyglass. What's going on? You're creepy. Background, that's where we start. The Spyglass was first revealed like essentially 100 years ago at this point, October 3rd, 2020, Minecraft Live 2020. The Spyglass was originally meant to be part of the Caves and Cliffs update. Later on, about a month later, the Spyglass made it into the game in 20W45A. This was the first 1.17 snapshot. Fast forward a little bit more to pretty much exactly a year ago, the tragic split. Caves and Cliffs is chopped into 2 updates. The Spyglass ended up making it into the game in the 1.17 half. Did you know when this item was first revealed, it was actually first called the Telescope. The name was later changed. Now, when you use this thing, you get this whole zoom in thing, you get the black bars on the side, this whole frame aesthetic, frame aesthetic in the middle. I mean, it's a telescope, it's like pretty straightforward. And third person, when you use it, it holds up to your eye. That's really, really cool looking. Or it holds up to whatever is on your skin next to your eye. Now, getting this thing in survival, pretty straightforward. You're going to need 2 things, or like 3 things, but 2 of those things are the same thing. This is a Caves and Cliffs item, fully made out of Caves and Cliffs things. 2 copper ingots, 1 amethyst shard. The recipe is pretty affordable, and it's insanely straightforward, as you can see. Picture this, you're in your long-term survival world, day 1000, you finally made it. You can make a YouTube video on it, and even better, you can finally afford a Spyglass. So you craft this thing in your world, what do you do with it? Well, you see that bee over there? I zoomed in on the bee. You see that bee over there? It gets a little bit closer, specifically 10% of your current FOV. Yeah, that's definitely worth the 1,000-day grind, as you can see. But wait, it gets even better. If you're zooming in on something, you can hit F1, and then that whole black bar aesthetic is gone. And check that out. You can look around at things and zoom in. Then you can unzoom in, and you can look at something else, like, I don't know, maybe those mud blocks over there. That was the last episode, pretty cool. Wow, look at all those things that can go on mud. Insane. I mean, it's a telescope. Just like the recipe, the stuff is pretty straightforward. So, of course, its main use in survival is zooming in on things. If you find something in the distance, maybe you're not exactly sure if that's a desert temple over there, or maybe you have no clue if that's actually a village, grab your Spyglass and you can zoom in on it and check it out. Now, in this situation, Java with Optifine, maybe the Spyglass isn't very useful at all. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But let's say you didn't have Optifine and Java, completely vanilla. The Spyglass is potentially a little bit more useful when you have a dense biome, like the jungle. Let's say we have this jungle on the horizon over there. We want to check this thing out, maybe see if there's any like jungle temple or anything. Well, then we could use the Spyglass to check it out, and clearly we can see a melon right there. Okay, not exactly a jungle temple, but check this out. Without the Spyglass, looking at that, would you know that there's a melon over there? No, not necessarily. So the Spyglass is kind of useful for melon hunting. Yeah. Alright, I wouldn't be the first to say it, but on Java right now, the Spyglass, how it works, it's not very good. It's actually kind of pointless. With free options out there like Optifine, they not only let you zoom, but let you zoom with a hotkey, no item necessary, and improve performance, the Spyglass is kind of pointless. But oh boy, if you're on Bedrock, the Spyglass, I mean, it's at least like 10% more useful. No zoom option on Bedrock, the Spyglass, there we go. That's definitely a village over there, definitely a taiga. That looks like a lot of ice spikes over there. Zoom in, can definitely confirm. Yeah, without something like Optifine, this thing gets a little bit more useful. One situation where I could see this thing potentially becoming a little bit more useful is inside of the Wild update. In 1.19, both versions of the game, the Spyglass could potentially be pretty useful for scouting out the ancient city. Like, you find a high point, you look around the ancient city, try and locate the loot chests, then you jump in and deal with the warden, find the loot, all of that kind of stuff. But until then, in survival Minecraft, the best use for the Spyglass probably comes when you pair this thing with some sort of Xray machine. So check this out, we're X-raying right now, we use the Spyglass, we could zoom in and check out things. We could maybe try and find like a geode or maybe something like more small, like diamonds or something like that. When it comes to X-raying, there's tons of different methods out there for both versions of the game. This method that I'm using is the Java method. I'll go ahead and link the original video down below. Big shout out Draki series. When you zoom in with the Spyglass is changing your FOV to 1/10 your current FOV, or 10%. So in Minecraft, we have a range of FOVs from 30 all the way up to 110. With fully zoomed out FOV Spyglass, this is what we have. With fully zoomed in FOV Spyglass, this is what we get. It's kind of similar looking. But if you're into advancements, maybe the spyglass is a little bit more useful for you. We've got one advancement for taking the spyglass over to a jungle and looking at a parrot. Our next advancement takes place inside of the nether. First, you're going to need to go there. Once you're there, wait around for a little while or find a ghast, and then take a look at the thing. There's another advancement. To get the third and final spyglass advancement, a grind. This one's going to take a little bit of a time. First things first, in this world, we're going to need to go find the stronghold. Then we need to get inside of the What? No way, no way. The random rare end portal frame block that spawns inside of the desert biome sometimes. Oh, that's insane. This is like literally perfect. Inside of the end with the spyglass. Oh, this is the setup that we need. So now that we're here, all we need to do is take the spyglass and find the dragon somewhere. It's somewhere. There we go. There's the dragon. Take a look at it with a spyglass, and that's the third advancement. I love this concept. Like, you take the spyglass with you around your world and look at different things. It's really cool. I wish the developers would expand upon this thing. And that's it. Typically for an Everything series episode, this is kind of where we would wrap up. I mean, that's like everything to know about the vanilla spyglass. But this thing is useless. It deserves better. So real quick, let's talk about improving the spyglass. What could the developers change about this thing or add to it to make it actually interesting? The spyglass is so cool and it deserves better. My first idea for a better use of the spyglass kind of spins off of that whole advancement thing. So you get a couple advancements for looking at specific things. What if you had to look at every single thing in the game with the spyglass? Maybe that would be a really late game advancement. Could be kind of cool. Or maybe make it even more useful. And when you look at a thing, you get a little bit of information that pops up on the side of the screen, like right over there. Yeah, that could be kind of cool. It could tell you what the mob is, maybe a little bit about it or something. Or information book. Right here, we have one for crafting, and maybe somehow there's some kind of book that you could craft for the spyglass, and all of that information from like looking at mobs, maybe even plants in the game as well, would go inside of that book. You'd slowly fill it out inside of your world as you look at things. A mechanic like this would help new players out big time. I mean, as this game expands and gets more updates, it's inevitable. There's going to be more and more things in the game. A guide to some of these things would be really cool. For players that have been playing a little bit longer, like me, maybe you, it would give us another goal to work towards in our world. We fill the book out entirely, and then we get an advancement. Kind of cool. Our next improvement concept is popular, and it's a whole lot more simple. If we're looking for a minimalistic approach to improving the spyglass, this might be it. Now to pull this one off, I'm using a data pack. A big shout out Chandler VE, data pack is linked down below. So check this out. Here's an outpost, here's my spyglass. I use the spyglass, zoom in on something, and it gets highlighted. That's it. The spyglass is basically something that will tag things. Now, in multiplayer, potentially insanely useful. Imagine taking on maybe an outpost, maybe a woodland mansion, maybe even an ocean monument or something. Bring the spyglass, quickly look at something, tag it, then all of the people in the world around you know exactly what you're talking about. That's kind of cool. Now, this whole tagging mechanic, it doesn't last forever. Like, eventually these things are just going to be untagged like that right there. This is the simple yet cool way to improve the spyglass big time. Mark mobs in the world. Now, to expand this, maybe make it even more useful, I would propose that maybe you're able to mark chests as well. The final potential spyglass fix we're going to talk about in today's video is functionally relatively small, but aesthetically, oh man, aesthetically this thing is off the charts. The spyglass could be improved by like a million times with one simple item. No change to the spyglass, add the spyglass stand. Alright, for this one, I want to send a shout out to Zoub. There's a data pack that makes this all possible. The pack has a couple issues. It's not exactly fully up to date, but I kind of got it working here. So, in this pack, to craft the spyglass stand, you need copper and sticks. I feel like that would make sense because spyglass, copper, yeah, that makes sense. That's the recipe right there. We do that, and then we get this item right here. Then if we go ahead and use this item on the ground, it's a spyglass stand. Next up, we're going to need a spyglass. Now, this pack works with a custom resource pack, so things are going to look a little bit different, but the concept is the same. So we have spyglass stand, then we use spyglass on the stand, and oof. Okay, yeah, like I said, the pack it's a little messed up. Spyglass most definitely should sit on top of the stand, but you get the point here. Imagine a stand like this in game, kind of like an armor stand, but literally a spyglass stand. Spyglass goes up on top of it, and then maybe, to make things even better, you can walk up to the stand and use the spyglass while it's on the stand. Player using the stand model-wise, pretty simple. The arm goes up holding the spyglass, and then the player is crouching because spyglass stand, you see, like, gets a little bit shorter than me. What can I say? I'm a tall king. Imagine this thing makes it into the game. Then imagine your world, your base. Let's say your base has a tower in it and that tower has a good view. Put one of these spyglass stands on top of the tower. You can look at your base anytime you want. Or maybe just imagine you're like exploring, camping out somewhere on top of a big cliff. Spyglass stand on the cliff. You can look around. Oh, it would be amazing. Truly, who knew something so small and minimalistic could be so gigantic? And now let's say you're not a fan of zooming, you just use Optifine. Well, that's fine. The spyglass stand, craft it, place it down, put a spyglass on it. It's a brand new decoration option, kind of like the armor stand. There is no reason the spyglass stand shouldn't be added to the game. When it comes to making the spyglass a little bit more useful, they could literally do anything, and it'd be better. When it comes to the spyglass episode of the Everything series, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for watching. Spyglass, the Xray tool that could be so much more. In the next episode, I'm thinking about covering either an enchantment or a biome. Which one do you think I'll do? Take a guess down below. If you enjoyed this one and how I did it, drop a like. It helps me and the video out huge time. How would you make the spyglass better? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.